Hello, welcome to Is This AI, episode 3. This is where we humans on the BIMA AI Council aim to bring you myth-busting insights, practical ideas, and a little more clarity for the AI road ahead. I'm Olly Veysey, writer, filmmaker, and content strategist, and co-chair of BIMA's AI Council, dialing in from yet another marvelous location by crystal clear waters is my co-host and AI Council co-chair, Talia Moretti. Talia, where are you and how are you?
Hi, Olly. I'm really good, thank you. Dialing in from the very lovely island of Crete, and where I'm on leave for this week, but couldn't miss the opportunity to talk to our brilliant guests, Dora and Joe, today. So I'm dialing in. No signs of AI, but lots of signs of Instagram boyfriends. That's what I'm reporting back on from my deep escapades.
AI. And today, for episode 3, we're also joined by one of our own, the very brilliant Dora Moldovan, Chief AI Officer at Braidr, global data and AI consulting company. Dora is also a member of the BIMA AI Council and collaborated with Talia and I on BIMA's AI standards. The link is in the show notes. Check them out if you haven't already. Dora, you are a very busy person as a Chief AI Officer, hard to get hold of. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure and always exciting to be part of this group. Really, really glad to be here. And obviously, I bring a very, very good guest today.
You certainly do. You're a managing director at the company you founded, at Braidr. We're delighted to welcome Joe McLewin. Joe is a digital strategist with 3 short decades of experience, effective data-driven strategic projects for startups and governments alike. Thank you for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We have you to thank for our provocation, which is a good one. Is not just a technology; it's a new mode of capitalism. Why don't we jump straight to you and share with us the beginnings of your thoughts? What do you mean by that?
Thank you. Yes. I mean, it obviously is a technology. There's a lot of technologies. There's also a lot of different things to different people. We've, much like the .com era, of which I was of, and thank you for that. Yes, 3 decades in digital, which is quite unbelievable. It's incredibly exciting, and we've all, I think, sort of had a glimpse of the future. AI as a technology right now is not what we all think it is. It's not, it's different to different people. But fundamentally, to get to the point, it's changing everything. It's about overall restructuring of the way we think. It's going to make us think about what is creativity, what is talent, what is work, what is productivity. Where do I do things? Do I do things myself? Do I do things with the assistance of technology? How much is mine? Is fundamentally, in my opinion, challenging all of the different structures that we have. And therefore, in the future, much like we had with the .com boom, where kind of we were all getting hyper excited with things, but digital has taken a while to take hold. I think that the world will be fundamentally different in the way that it creates, the way that it distributes, the way that it consumes, and the way that it operates. And AI is a fundamental actor in that. And so it's not just a tech, it's changing the way we're going to operate.
Dora, do you want to expand on that a little bit? And perhaps, in whatever way you'd like to, but I'm interested specifically about your experience as Chief AI Officer, how you're seeing that change, those structural shifts manifest in daily work.
It's a really interesting challenge that AI is posing for an organization. Therefore, roles like mine get to exist. What I'm seeing it is I'm not playing the role of, the CTO, where you buy a tool and then you make sure you have a demo and then you show people how to use it. They get on with it and productivity happens, or a new service happens, or a new product happens. This is almost like building a cult or a church. You have to get people on board one by one, and you have to do the cultural shift because AI means a lot of things for everyone. For some people, it means Copilot. For some people, it means ChatGPT. And we know at the board level, it does not mean that at all. So how do you, my job is literally to match the expectations of the board to the bottom line while taking all of the people in an organization with me on a journey that is very interesting. It's not like building a company where you have a vision and you literally hire people that are very capable in their field and they move you forward. This is about getting people that are absolutely against AI, people that are too enthusiastic about AI, or people that want to do it but don't know how, all to align against the goal of moving the organization forward. Really interesting provocation.
Dora, thank you for sharing that. I would love to come back and talk a bit more about those internal structures. But before I do that, Lisa, Talia, I want to give you the floor to respond to this provocation and share your thoughts on this.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I would really like to unpack what you mentioned there, Dora, in a bit more detail about it's like building a cult or a church. You know, do you mean by this that there are certain values that you are trying to kind of center in your AI strategy that you're trying to kind of bring everyone on board, or do you mean the kind of motivations that you're having, or like the motivating tactics that you're having to deploy to bring people on board? Like, what do you mean by, it being more like building a cult or a church? Like, how is this different to other digital leadership challenges you've had before?
Indeed. Well, AI is being seen as a bit of magic right now. You go from people that think, oh, just build an AI agent for that, or there's an AI for that, for everything, all the problems in an organization. And then you have the people that are skeptical, that don't want to touch it. They feel like it's going to take their job. And that's a very valid fear in the marketplace. They see leadership adopting it or enforcing it as being a way of getting rid of them. So it's balancing that act between AI is magic, it can do everything, with the people that just don't want to touch it. And just like, the cult, you have to convince people of the benefits one by one, and you have to touch their core values, and you have to go one by one and bring people together to make this happen. Because it only takes a couple of detractors in a company and then everything goes sideways.
I guess I have a follow-up question that I would love to ask yourself and Joe, really, or whoever would like to respond. But there is a lot of benefit that can come from this technology. But one of the things that we've been trying to do with this podcast is to try to balance some of that conversation about both the strengths and the weaknesses. So when you are building the strategy and trying to motivate people to get on board, how do you respond to some of those real fears and criticisms of the technology that that are true, right? Like people being really fearful about losing their jobs. Well, they're fearful because like that is, for some instances that is very likely to happen.
Picked up. Yeah, it's really interesting. So I think, as I was saying at the beginning, it's about looking into the future, and there's lots of excitement. So you've got these kind of dual tensions that are coming from pressures from the boardroom, which are looking at us and investors are going, make me money quickly, make everything shorter, give me a completely new configuration of my business so I can make higher profits. And that is a big driver particularly into the sort of tech and AI stock bubble right now. Let's face it, it's about greed, and people, much like the dot-com bubble, is about how can I make money. You've got that top-down kind of, as we were talking about before, this idea that AI is magic and is somehow going to shape everything. Then you've got your kind of bottom-up version, which is, you're absolutely right, and Lisa, Talia, is about people terrified about what does that mean and how does that, how does that affect me? Where we're sitting right now is that there's a massive tension between those two things. So there's this huge amount of investment going into these huge, full stack enterprise systems that are going to change a lot of the way that the industry works. To re-alter and restructure, particularly in the consumer digital world, lots of different jobs. But you've equally then got at the bottom loads of different bits of the business trying to do AI projects and trying to make them work, and actually finding it really, really difficult. And it not being the silver bullet that everyone thinks it is. It is at the moment the magic that you get when you can sit there and type into an LLM is fantastic. But the line we quite often use is, I do not trust that with my reputation or my revenue right now. And there's a whole load of work and engineering that needs to go into it in order for it to work. So there's this kind of multi-speed, multi-scalar versions of this stuff. So it's not one particular thing, and that's why it needs to be dealt with as both a technology, but also as a cultural phenomenon, also as a political phenomenon, also as a change program. It's not just something IT does. This is something that affects us all in terms of what we're here to do, what we're trying to do. How can this actually help us?
I just wanted to add something from a practical point of view. So when it comes to bridging that gap with people, the fears and the excitement, I think it's giving people a very clear direction in an unsexy way, basically. And it all goes down to the policies and showing people what they could do with trust, building trust by demoing things, by showing them the results and showing them how they could use it, but also giving them really, really clear direction in what not to do. Because at the moment, it's everyone's game. And I think it's really, really important to define what they shouldn't do. Another thing that we need to do in order to build trust is to get the buy-in of the leadership at any level. And I think one of my mantras is educate leaders relentlessly, because you can't lead what you don't know. So in order for them to lead teams that are now equipped with AI, they need to understand what the limitations and what the challenges or what the actual benefits of using AI in their team actually can.
Thank you both. That's so interesting. I know we're talking about that multifaceted, change piece and bringing everyone with you and people. But at its heart, if AI is a new capitalism, a new system, political process, then data is the new fields, and whoever controls it and fences it and tills it owns the future. And I know that data is at the heart of your work. What can we, the proletariat, do to thrive when an access to data is, when big tech has basically colonized vast tracts of data land? What can your clients, what can other agencies and practitioners do to carve out their piece and thrive in this new system?
Almost counterintuitively, and I've debated this a bit, is actually measurement. So there's a lot of, having worked in the creative industries for as long as I have, worked across, kind of design, branding, advertising, quite a lot of work isn't measured right now. It's a lot of it's on hunch, a lot of it's on kind of instinct, a lot of it is on assumption. One of the things I think we can do is start to do the focus in on measurement more and prove that human creativity is better than AI generated creativity, because that will be part of countering the top-down accountant-led demands on effectiveness, teams, getting rid of, kind of the whole strata of creative teams, creative organizations, etc., and actually going, no, well, this is demonstrating that we have a better connection with our audiences, we have better outcomes, we have a better overall levels of effectiveness, and that would just really, really help. And like you say, Olly, data driven. I've been championing measurement way before this AI bubble came in place. It's like, how can we have to prove that our work works. We can sit there and defend ourselves, defend our work, defend our place in the system, rather than just stand there and be taken over by this kind of promise. And the other flip side of that is, and this is a lot of the conversation Dora and I are in, there's a load of those promises that aren't being delivered upon, and boards of going, why is that? And what's going on? Hang on a minute, I thought this was going to, do X, Y, and Z, and we're having to tell them the inconvenient truth of actually it's much more complicated than that, and you have to work quite hard at making sure you join up all the data, join up all the technology platforms, join up all of the different work streams. It's much more granular and particular than people's imagination or what they think it is.
Right. And then from my perspective, in terms of what businesses can actually do, the currency going forward will be knowledge creation and the information that you put out there in order for AI to understand recommend and make decisions based on what you are telling it for the consumers of your brand. If we're thinking about how people are searching right now and what's coming out with the AI mode, with GPT, we know shopping agents are coming. Probably and possibly after the shopping agents are going to be operational, we're looking at flights being booked directly in AI systems. We're probably going to look at hotels, the hospitality industry moving into that model as well. And then businesses have to pose the question of, why do I exist digitally and what is important for me to output there? So is it about the user experience? Is it about the creativity that they can bring to the fold? Is it about the accuracy of the information and, controlling that narrative in the end? So what I always say to businesses, the one set of data that you have and no one else has is your customer data. So you have to look after that. You have to trade that as gold currency, and you have to make sure that you're able to acquire as much of that as possible by creating experiences for your customers when they're happy to do that value exchange, by making sure that you're there in all the channels where they are providing that information, and possibly not letting third parties have that on your behalf. So yes, it is a data game, and I think knowledge creation is going to be even more important.
Lisa, Talia, do you want to build on any of that?
Makes me think so often of what we talk about, and really thinking about those human values and do this responsibly, right? And how we separate truth from fiction, and the importance of education. This is not magic. There's a lot of work to get to be done to implement this, and the importance of getting it right is to sustain trust, not only with your customers, but also with your employees and with your staff. And we know that, once you lose trust, it's very hard to build that back again.
Joe, just to close, and then Dora, I'll come to you. Capitalism as a system, it's proved fruitful for some and not for others. And without getting too political, what do you see as what are the things you're most excited about with this new system? And what do you want to see so that everyone can come along and be part of its success that might not be happening yet?
I think you're absolutely right. We're talking about the rights to the future, and that's a big, that's why I'm framing it in that, in the scale that I am, in terms of, that this is a new mode of capitalism. People are going to be owning and controlling the means of production in different ways. That's going to be completely restructuring what we do. But equally, it's incredibly exciting in terms of the innovation that's going on. There are, creatives everywhere have got whole new horizons and whole new boundaries to think, like that are being broken. What we have now is actually, if you come back to AI as a technology, it's incredibly good fun and exciting and interesting and explorative. I'm really looking forward to the first Blair Witch film come out, from AI, somebody making an incredible, bedroom movie that's just, phenomenal and blows us all away creatively. There's all those things where it's humans plus the tech equals fantastic and exciting outcomes.
Thank you. And Dora, have the final word here. And send us off into the future.
Thank you.
With
I'm going to do it in a very positive way, with a provocation there for all the businesses in this new mode of capitalism, and borrowing from a conversation Joe and I had probably 2 years ago. Our aim is not to get people to operate in peak AI mode, but to use AI to allow us as humans to operate in peak human.
That might be a whole nother episode. We might need to come back and like that. But I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, for bringing that provocation to us, for sharing your thoughts today. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Audio Jungle.